Welcome to the European Parliamentary Research Service podcasts.
In this podcast, we'll delve into the risk of biodiversity loss or collapse, one of the 15 risks identified and analysed by the EPRS in their Future Shocks 2023 report. Want to know more? Stay with us.
Biodiversity is the variety of life on Earth, from animals to plants, fungi, and even microorganisms like bacteria, all working together in ecosystems like an intricate web to maintain balance and support life.
Biodiversity provides us with everything that we need to survive: food, clean water and air, medicines, climate regulation. But we are destroying it, and fast.
Around 1 million species, out of an estimated 8 million, are threatened with extinction. That is the highest number in human history. And according to the WWF's 2022 Living Planet report, the lights are flashing red, a shocking decline of 2/3 in global populations of mammals, fish, birds, reptiles, and amphibians since 1970, and that is in less than 50 years. And it could get even worse.
Needless to say that this will have fundamental consequences for our society, our economy, and our health and well-being, making biodiversity loss one of the greatest environmental risks of our century, along with climate change.
With initiatives like the Natura 2000 network of protected areas, the EU has achieved some success in halting biodiversity loss, but the numbers are not much brighter than elsewhere. So, what are the main pressures at EU level?
One of the main causes of biodiversity loss in Europe is the growing demand and competition for land, especially to build new houses, for infrastructure, and to produce renewable energy and biofuels.
Yes. So, while we clearly need to move to greener energy sources, it's important that this doesn't happen at the expense of biodiversity.
Multiple environmental crises and systemic risks need to be addressed together. As the World Economic Forum's 2023 Global Risks Report highlights, biodiversity loss, climate change, pollution, natural resource consumption, and socio-economic factors form a dangerous combination that can lead to the collapse of ecosystems with far-reaching economic and societal consequences, such as loss of crop yields and nutritional value or water scarcity.
Another cause of biodiversity loss in Europe that needs addressing is the undervaluation of nature. Now, what does this mean exactly?
It means that the value of nature and the products and services it provides are not reflected in market prices, and governments are still investing more in exploiting nature than in protecting it, though this has started to change.
Public awareness of the importance of biodiversity and the benefits of nature is also growing, and the message is beginning to sink in. Without biodiversity, there simply isn't anything left. So, how will this risk evolve in the future?
Well, that will depend largely on how the EU acts today. And the EPRS study has envisaged 4 different scenarios to suggest how the EU could respond to the impacts of biodiversity loss. Jurgita Lekavičiūtė from the European Parliamentary Research Service will briefly run us through these scenarios.
In the first scenario, we underestimate biodiversity loss as a problem. The EU has adopted relevant laws, but failure to implement them rapidly is still a major limiting factor. In the second, strong green governments not only adopt the necessary laws, but also ensure that they are implemented. The third scenario is about community power. As governments fail to implement relevant laws, citizens begin to mobilize. And the fourth contemplates the possibility of a major event that could make the situation even worse.
So, what could be done?
Well, if we are serious about solving the twin biodiversity and climate crises, the change needs to be systemic and big. It needs to happen now and across all sectors, from the economy to our societies, political systems, and technological developments.
This means that we'll need to rethink the way we produce and consume globally, as well as the way we live in general, and consider more sustainable and fair alternatives.
We'll also need to step up our conservation efforts, future-proof agricultural systems, and involve other countries in other parts of the world in these efforts, because species and ecosystems don't stop at borders.
For a more detailed analysis, Check out Jurgita Lekaviciute's full chapter on biodiversity loss as part of the EPRS Future Shocks 2023 study.
This is a European Parliamentary Research Service podcast.
Thanks for listening.